What's in
I
sports?
I want to travel. Like
You
I
want to
want to
travel?
travel, experience new things. Yeah.
Right.
That can. You know what's interesting? Like today, and I mean that's where you guys. Well, I say you guys, but we're all benefiting from it. But more so, you guys coming up because you're at that age where you can make more risks now and reap them later. Is social media like? There's so many different jobs because of the era
So
that we're
many.
in, and there's so many business ideas. Like, don't I don't really like the concept of influencers, but that's a job, that's a thing now, and like,
Yeah.
people get paid good money from that. So you're saying,
Mad
okay,
money.
cool, but money, and they get a lot of like privileges. They get to travel for free more time, depending on whatever
Yeah.
partnership deal they have, and they're still getting paid on top of that. Exactly. So you're saying you want to travel, you like fitness. What's stopping you from having like a fitness vlog? You know, where it's like you're traveling, you're doing the fitness stuff. You know, why can't Max see that and be like, hold on, this is engaging the young people. You
Yeah.
want to kind of capitalize on your audience, so we're gonna pay you
Mm.
to do it, etc., etc. Just wear night gear, and we're gonna pay for your travel. That's a business. That is a business. You're the business. You're the brand now. You want to say you Paris Nona Limited, or however you want to call it. It's like this. You can be so creative. It's so crazy. Like
Yeah.
be so creative,
I
man.
think with like when you have, I mean, my advice would be when you have a kind of business idea, it's really easy to think big. And I think when you think big, that's a sign of being an entrepreneur, of being someone who would be good at, not necessarily be good, but who's got the vision for business. And because I'm sure that when Jeff Bezos started Amazon, he probably didn't think it would just be a bookshop. Maybe he did have big ambitions. I was talking to someone the other day and they were like, you know what, Elon Musk, he's got an ambition to go to Mars, but he started a business that was PayPal. And then he started Tesla. Like none of these things
He started PayPal.
He started PayPal, yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
But PayPal is not going to get you to Mars.
Yeah,
a Tesla is not going to get you to Mars. But yet all of these things were like little steps along the way. And even though his big thing was like, I want to go to Mars, his little thing was like, in the meantime, I'm going to set up an online transactional platform. In the meantime, I'm going to invent a car that runs off electricity. Like, and so if you're, for example, when I think of traveling Paris, when you say you want to travel, I'm thinking immediately like Hong Kong, a beach in Bali. I'm thinking
Hawaii.
Jamaica. I'm thinking, I don't know, like Antarctica, Alaska. I'm thinking oceans. I'm just thinking like all of the amazing places in the world that there are to visit. And I'm sure you are too. And you're just thinking, well, how on earth do I get there? Like, I don't have that kind of backing. But then you have to think of like, okay, well, that's the big picture and that's fine. What can I do right now? What's like a first step? The first step is I can make a plan. And then the second step is like, maybe what can I do? I might not be able to travel the world, but I could travel Lambeth. I could travel London. I could travel England. And as you're doing these things, you're building up your followers, if that's the way you want to go, or you're building, and at very least, you're building up your experiences and you're learning how you travel and what what are good things you need when you're traveling. And, how do you plan to travel? And you're learning so much. And bit by bit, your business is growing. And it's about sort of taking those first few steps in order to achieve the bigger picture. I think that would be my advice. So there you go. Start traveling around Lambeth.
Yeah. I feel like, like when I want to travel, I don't want to just like travel and like just see like all the nice sights and all that, the landmarks and all of that. I don't want to just do that. I want to actually do something that's important and that's actually going to like make a difference inside of those countries. I know obviously people want to like tour and everything, just see everything. That's what I want to do as well, but I want to experience like their culture and anything that I can do to help them. So.
That's a great concept. I would watch that if you're gonna.
100.
Yeah.
There's. I mean, STA unfortunately are no longer with us because of. But they were like traveling agencies, but they got Yeah, they folded after the first lockdown.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, but they offered like volunteering packages, so you would get like a set amount of like weeks, and you go to certain. They were more like rural parts of the country, so like East Asia, Africa, and they were like volunteering schemes, which were quite sick. So you could help out. I think some of them were like cleaning the elephants and stuff. Like, it was mad. But imagine doing that and you're vlogging that. I haven't seen that.
That'd be so cool. Do you know what'd be really cool? Do you know what'd be really cool is if you visit like all of the places. If you visit all like places where traditionally people go and people do like, you know, like for example, Italy, you know, Florence, that's a very well documented city. But what if you went to these like fairly famous wealthy cities and was like, I'm gonna go to like the poorest areas, and I want to see and I want to get to know how are poor people living here, what are the issues in their lives, and how can I help, and kind of give a different angle on these cities that people probably just think of as being, you know, really wealthy. I guess London is one of them. And then on the flip side, you could go to other countries where traditionally we see the poor side, and you seek out the richest people in those countries and just be like, I'm here, you know, I don't know. And show like a massive palace in the middle of, I don't know, a slum. I'm sure I've heard like there's places where there's like slums and then £1 million houses like right next to them.
Yeah, it's very common in India. It's terrible in India. Like from like the research I've done, but that's like implementation here. Like Paris, when we were talking earlier about like Brixton, and then you saying like the difference, like there's areas that are quite low income, and then right opposite across the road, they got all of these new nice fancy houses. It's the same.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. But yeah, I actually had a question. It's more for Paris and Beatrice. Like, what do you think are some of like the myths young people have about starting a business, like things they think are true but they're not actually true, that would stop them from wanting to get into starting a business?
That the money that you have, like, you can just spend on whatever you want. Like, you don't have to pay for stuff and all of this. Like, if you're owning your own business, and for example, like a shop or anything, like my neighbor, I feel like what I've learned from that working there, you know, is that when you're the manager and when like you're the owner of the place, you have to, there's like other responsibilities that you have to like take responsibility of, like you have to pay your actual workers, you have to pay them the right money, you know, and that's actually coming out of your own pocket, you know. And when you're working inside the shop, okay, you're getting that money, but remember, to get that money, you have to like, I don't know, you have to like pay for stuff and everything else that goes into your business, like the supplies and the equipment. You have to pay for that out of your own pocket, you know, to invest and to do all of this, you know, to make profit. I feel like they just think, like young people nowadays, they just think when you're making your own business, it's like you just get money for yourself and you can spend it on whatever you want, all the designer, all everything. When really,
Tell them again. Really like Tell them again.
Yeah, innit. What's your take, bitches? What do you think puts young people off starting a business?
I think it could be like maybe not getting anywhere anytime soon. And so like being slow on the uptake, you know, like
because they want fast cash.
Yeah. And maybe just, you know, like progress, maybe a slow progress at the beginning. That could, I think, demotivate people.
But I think that's why, like, having mentors and that above is very important, because they teach you that it's okay. They teach you that it's gonna happen. But if you don't have that, you assume you're doing something wrong, or you assume you're not going well. But if you have someone to tell you that, yo, at the beginning, it's gonna be slow, it's gonna be hard, this is what happened to me, then you get filled with a bit more encouragement. And you're like, okay, cool. I just got to be patient, and they're able to guide you through the process. So I think definitely for like young entrepreneurs and young people in general, whatever you want to do, like have a mentor, have someone that's
out alone.
Exactly, have someone that's done what you want to do, so you can learn from them and get encouragement from them as well. And then that's how you get further in life quicker.
Yeah, 100%. You need to put the right people around you. And I think as young people, there's a lot of people who would want to support young entrepreneurs. I think Dell and me, for sure. I would happily business mentor someone if you think that I'm good enough for that. I think there's a lot of people who'd be up for helping a young person like with their business. Have you got a business idea, Beatrice?
Me, well, if I had to start a business, it would center around like my own art pieces. My own creations. Since I was younger, to be honest, it's quite funny. My family has always told me, like, even like wider family, oh, you should start a business. You can sell your paintings, you can sell your drawings. I've always been like,
And look at us here talking about young people in business.
Come on.
I haven't seen your art. I want to see your art.
Same. I'm surprised I haven't seen it either.
Beatrice.
This is hiding.
Okay, we see you.
Hiding.
Let's
even
do
Paris,
it.
Paris, even you as well. Look at Paris behind her head.
No, that's my GCSE stuff. Yeah,
but it's beautiful.
It's
like I was looking at that earlier.
It's fabulous.
I think it's really nice.
That's so
that's
cool.
when I was into art.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Okay, so we need to do a lot more art stuff. Yes. Okay, Beatrice, we need to make a plan. And we need to make a plan. Because you know what? As an artist, there's a lot you can do. It's not just necessarily about selling your art and like producing art pieces and selling your art. Like people need artwork for so many different things. So many different
album covers. Artists want like album covers. Everyone's trying to make a fashion line now. You can sell your art as part of their graphics. There's so many different angles. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't just have to be a gallery. Literally. Brands, you can work with brands. Brands are always looking for new art pieces of artwork for their marketing strategies and whatnot. It's so I slightly envy you guys. I won't lie to you. Like I won't lie, the age you're at.
For being young.
No, just not just being young, but being young in the times we're in. I think it's that because obviously it gets better after each generation, but it's like where you guys are now, you can literally from time people are making money, from playing games on YouTube. That's when I said no one can make any excuses. I won't lie to you.
No, it
might sound hard, but no one can make. People are on YouTube playing games with their friends, and they get millions of views, and they're getting paid for it. KSI, I think that's how he started, and now he's buying his parents' houses and cars.
Sidemen, all of this.
All of them.
Like,
that's mad.
Over 10 million subscribers on YouTube.
Paris.
You know, like that's a lot. That's a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
They're paid for playing games.
Exactly, for literally playing games.
The same game my parents would tell me turn it off. Say that again.
Yeah, it's your hobby.
Your hobby.
Yeah. But it goes back to what I said. You know, make your work your play, and you'll never work a day in your life. These people are not working because they're just playing they're just doing what they love.
Exactly.
But
do what you love and
do what you love. But also, even with that, I think there's one thing. I think when I came out of uni, the reason why I'm fortunate that I took my time in terms of like finding the right job and finding like the right business that I wanted to do, because I realized that there's going to be hard times in anything you do. Whether you love it, whether you hate it, there's always going to be difficult. There's going to be times where you might not feel up for it. There might be times where things are not working, but you rather have those times doing something you love, because then is the encouragement of loving it. That's what's going to spur you on. If you hate it and it's not going well, you don't want to wake up every morning like then that's just a double whammy. Then you're just like, so if you love it, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a slow day or it's a long day or you're not in the mood. You know that okay, cool, I love this thing. So it's like, yeah, man, make your work your play, man. Definitely make your work your play. 100%.
I think that's so good. Cool. I think one of my kind of closing thoughts is entrepreneurs. So successful entrepreneurs, when you talk to them, usually they have been unsuccessful in a number of businesses before they find the business that actually brings them in money. And of course, these days we think that you're successful if you've made a lot of money, which is, debatable. But they will. I'm one of them, I think, and I think as entrepreneurs, we'll argue that you haven't necessarily been unsuccessful; that you've just built up your experience and you've learned so much. And often you can learn more from a business that fails than from a business that succeeds. And as you're learning, that's invaluable, and you can't always buy that experience. And I think that's a really crucial thing to sort of take on board as a young person, that if you're starting a business, or if you started a business and it's not going as planned, to not get too discouraged. That try it. Is it working? If you're getting so frustrated with it and, nothing, and there's like a blockage, then maybe that's just not the right business and there's something else that you need to start. Or if you find that it's just failing to the point where you have to stop, don't be discouraged and then go and get a job. Like, if you have to get a job to make ends meet and to invest another bit of money in a new business, do that. But and as entrepreneurs, like true entrepreneurs, they have a lot of ideas. And I think that's another piece of advice I would give you guys, is don't get overwhelmed by the number of ideas you have and feel like, oh, I've just got to pick one of these ideas. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think you can have a lot of successful businesses. You might have to pick one to start with, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to do any of the others. I think to take one at a time and keep on going.
Yeah. And on top of what Helen said, write them down.
Yes.
If you know you're someone that's got a lot of ideas, write them down. Like, just write down the vision, make it plain. And you might not go to it now, but like 5 years down the line, when you've already started the one, you can go back and refer to the list that you've got. Like, okay, now is the right time to execute this one or this other one. So it's not, like Helen said, it's not a bad thing to have a lot of ideas. Just write them down.
Yeah. Go on. Closing thoughts, Paris. Go on.
Closing thoughts. I got a big one. So
Go
you
for
see,
it.
like, where I feel like, like young people nowadays, when like they decide to like make, like, build their own businesses and everything, they think about like people critiquing them a lot, people judging them, and make it like when they create their own business, they think that, are people gonna like it or not, and everything like that. And I feel like they just think a lot about that, and that kind of like hinders them from like going further with like their businesses and everything. Because look at Virgil. If you guys know Virgil, he's like he's a designer, he's a DJ, he's his own entrepreneur. How we use that, entrepreneur, in it. And when he did that Pop Smoke cover, the first time he did it,
Terrible.
Listen, it was in my opinion, it was terrible.
I think it was most people's opinion.
Him. Like, what is that? Like, you do your own Off-White. You're the what is he again? He has his own, like,
he's the lead designer for the men's department for Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, Louis Vuitton. Yeah, he's like the artist. What's it called? The artistic like director or something. But so
don't care.
I'm thinking,
don't care what people think.
I think that's a really good point. I think it's about, and I think these days, what people think pretty quickly after you, like, with social media now, you put something up on social media, you're going to know whether people like it or not within quite a short space of time.
100.
And I think that it can be really damaging for businesses as well. Like if someone jumps on a bandwagon and, someone says something bad about your business. And I think it can be really scary. And I think it can put a lot of people off. But again, I think that's just like, you have to be brave and you have to take risks. And you have to understand that for the amount of people who don't like your business and say it, there's probably double, maybe triple the amount of people who do like your business, but don't necessarily say it. And I think I think a lot of people are quite quick to criticize, but not as quick to compliment. And so I think maybe you have to have that kind of resilient mentality that, like, yeah, I mean, unless everyone is telling you that your product is rubbish, in which case maybe just get a bit more productive feedback. Then I think you kind of have to carry on. And there's a way of turning like negative feedback into positive feedback. Like if someone doesn't like your product just for no reason, then, you know, what can you do? But if someone doesn't like your product and is able to help you make it better, then that's an opportunity, isn't it?
100%. 155%.
What about you, Beatrice? What are your closing thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's someone everyone should consider, definitely. And as Dal said earlier, you know, if you have ideas, like put them down, and you never know when you'd use them in the near future. And it's just about taking that like leap, being brave and taking that leap. And it's definitely worth it, because even as you said earlier, Helen, even if it doesn't succeed at first, or like that particular business, then it's, you know, experience that you've got under your belt.